did come out good there. But I mean, if you want to talk about the first half, I'm happy to talk about with you because it was
Well, I don't think I've seen a worse first half from a Roosters side. We completed 8 from 16 or 15 maybe set to 6, which
shocking.
is pretty diabolical. The fact that we were only 8-6 down, and we're also sorry, Clay, we're also live on YouTube too, and the podcast. The, yeah, we are. So it was so bad, and then to come out in the second half and actually look like a professional team was heartening to see. With Souths, without halves, with the injuries, one man on the bench, we really should have. I know I've said every week about inexperience, but um, there was enough things going our way to win that match. Uh, South did get a couple of lucky breaks. I think a couple of Latrell's kicks. Yeah. Say that again. Sorry, bro. Yeah. Just check your mic, Clarrie, just for me. Just make sure it's on.
No, it's accidentally off. Look, yeah, that's just what happens when you're trying to run off three platforms, team. Second, yeah. I thought we set the tone in that, second half. That first half, I don't even know how to unpack that. I think everyone was left a bit gobsmacked, and it was just a bit like, wow, did that just happen?
Yeah. Let's there's people been sending through questions, which is great. So send the more the merrier. I'll just start reading some out, Clary, and
Hit me, dude, hit me.
we'll. Someone says Billy stays at centre and Mark to the wing. I'm
Don't
assuming
mind
he
it.
means Dom maybe
Wasn't
maybe
Dom's
out.
best game. Yeah, wasn't. What I don't think it was Dom's best game, and I don't know. We do have a bit of a jam there. You know, Billy stays fit and healthy. I think they have a lot of belief in Rob Toya. And, you know, early on in his NRL career, still showing a lot of promise.
Yeah.
And that's not to shadow over, you know, the potential and obviously the skill that we know that Dom Young has. But, you know, Billy, they back Billy a lot, and he's, you know, he's pretty rock solid as well. Not just as a player, but I think as a teammate. I think the Roosters, I think Robbo really gets around Bill as a good person in the team. So there was always going to be a bit of a jam there, even if you asked us in the off-season who was going to be in that kind of back 4 or 5 area. It was always going to be a bit of a question mark. But then, I suppose it's a bit of a tough period that we're finding ourselves in terms of just, you know, the team's not performing as well. And then naturally some players are not going to perform as well. And I feel that, I think... you know, some questions have to be asked, and especially after we've been performing the way that we are, I think some big moves might need to be made, and they don't have to be forever. Robbo's got the ability to, you know, pull and, you know, bring forward and pull back players and maneuver them, even if it's just for a bit of a scare or just for a bit of a, you know, just a little bum tap, you know, just a little prod, just, oi! Make sure you're doing your job, boy. And I just don't know if some of us are doing that job tonight.
No. Jay Fred asks, what's the rule of replacing Chad with a wireless vacuum? I don't know. Haven't explored that yet.
Mate, I've given up wireless vacuums ages ago,
they
bro.
suck.
They shit me up.
I had a
the
Dyson.
Wall.
It was pathetic. It was
Mate,
pathetic.
what? You don't have a Dyson that's got wire. Does a Dyson vacuum have wire, like a wire on it, a cord?
No,
man?
he said wireless.
Yeah, mate. I'm pro cordless vacuums to pro Dysons, man.
Hey, let's get to one more comment, and then we'll kind of go off on our own little thoughts. Peter Panner, good man.
Shout out, Macaulay.
He asked something which we were chatting about. Taking Watson and Feketi off at the same time changed our momentum. He feels that was a bit of a mistake maybe in the rotation, and I find that hard to disagree with. It felt like as soon as Connor went off, things kind of hit a wall a bit. He was super creative tonight. He was our best player, I thought, by far. And he went off. I mean, he may have just needed a spell. Maybe he was gassed and it just had to happen. But there's no doubt that when he did go off, there was, I guess, things kind of hit a bit of a brick wall for us, really.
Yeah, mate, Connor's played 80 this whole season. Every game he's played. Do we need to take Connor off? And for Keddy, we messaged him through the game. For Keddy looks good.
Oh, dude.
God, he's young in the face.
He's going to be
kill for that
face. Him and Blake Steep, man. Him and Blake Steep are going to be special
Boyd
players.
Steep, bro. Shout out to
Boyd Steep. There was a couple of close-up shots post-tackle of them getting off the ground. It was both Boyd Steep and Fiketti getting off the ground together. I'm like, that's a vision I want to see for like the next 10 years.
Jack, I reckon you're going to see that for at least 10 years.
Yeah, that's good. Look, I think we're going to address the last 20 minutes because...
Well, I just want to get to a couple more questions before we get there. Sounds like we keep beating ourselves. We do keep beating ourselves. Mate, yeah. There was a good question that I saw.
Is it the one about Sandon overplaying his hand since Townsend is obsolete? I think he meant to say.
Nah.
Let's go on the last 20 minutes, bro. Let's chat out the last 20 minutes.
Let's keep moving.
It was funny, like you could see what South were doing. They just knew that they just had to hang in there, essentially complete their sets. They had literally had nothing, and they had to wait for us to make a couple of mistakes, all kind of fortune to fall their way. For them, it did by that dropout. That being said, they had two fortuitous dropouts, which is very frustrating.
We cooped that second one.
Yeah, I thought the
bro.
second one could have been cleaned up, and then they got their opportunity. Bud Sullivan went through some lazy defence. Back on the inside, Jai Gray, who had a hell of a game. He's come from nowhere, that kid, to be a pretty outstanding. I think he's leading the Dally M's, funnily enough. But, regardless of the fortuitous dropouts, regardless of a couple other things, we shouldn't have, despite the inexperience that we've still got out there, we should have won that game, which is really disappointing. And I don't know whether it was just like leadership or guidance. I think that's something.
Yeah, where do you think we lost that game?
Well,
because I feel like until the last 15, I think we were up by 6, 2 tries, no 2 conversions, and I'm going, we got the upper hand here. We're on, But I saw the clock, and I think there was actually like 22 minutes to go, and I'm like, oh, that's a long time. That's a bloody long time rugby league football, and I'm just going, oh. So in that last 22, Jack, where do you think what happened? Where do you think we went wrong?
Well, yeah, we essentially just couldn't close out the game. We should have scored more points, really. I thought we had a couple opportunities to be a bit more creative. I thought our kicking game in the red zone was pretty not great. There were a number of crossfield kicks that kind of either went too deep or went too short, which makes it hard for someone like Dom Young. I mean, it's a bit annoying because we've got Dom Young as an amazing aerial threat, and it doesn't feel like we're actually utilising that aspect of his game at all. So I just thought there was a lack of execution, but also just guidance. I think our halves, and specifically Chad Townsend, which is why he's there. I know he was originally there to provide cover, but he's a 10-year first grader. He should be, driving us home and getting us to win that match. And again, I know I've said it inexperienced quite a number of times. I think that definitely still played a part, but I think the position they were in, inexperience or not, you gotta win that. And I think overall really, really disappointing.
Massively disappointing. I don't feel like we deserve that win, Jack. I feel like we shouldn't have been in that. And then what I've said in the last few podcasts, and especially you guys, I'm like, when you get pounded on your line and you're hanging in there, which I think we did against, maybe it was the Warriors, and we just absorbed a lot of defense. And then at the end, you just can't hold on because you run out of gas. And I was a bit concerned about that, but then a try can save it all. And I just feel like, we were lucky to stay in that, and then we're kind of coming into second half and it's like, all right, this is game on. But then the second half, and no errors, But then, yeah, we just completely mismanaged that last little bit, man. And I think that's what we're all so cut about. Roosters fans all know as well. It's like, we know that we're not the prettiest team right now, and we know this is not like, oh, that was should have been one, even though it should, like, we just really didn't nail that at all.
No. Any kind of highlights? Do you think any? I thought Nafu White for the most part he let Bud Sutherland go through that try, but I thought he was really strong. I thought it was
Nafu White is having a great season, at least from that running game perspective. And I'm going to be honest, sometimes I just I'm watching the defense, and then sometimes on the edge I'm watching the attack instead of watching our defense and the way they move. And then you get your chance over when the replays come and what have you. But Nafua White's just runs and his intensity in the runs is so good to see. I feel like Nafua White's just been kind of thereabouts. Like he's just been in and amongst the team, and that he's just and this could be one of the shining lights of the year. It's just him just stamping his authority, being like, yes, no Jared. Hey, maybe Lindsay's out for another 6, how many weeks. Yeah, Nafua White could be. I can help you guys be that guy.
I tell you, who had a good game was actually Rob Toyer. I thought I know Latrell ended up winning the game, but that wasn't because of Rob Toyer. I thought defensively he was fantastic, Rob Toyer. I thought he did really, really well.
He was staying alive in defense. I just saw one play where he was just alive when they went for an offload, and he was there, bang, just tackled. I think it was like Latrell, and I was just like, that's what you want to see, is just that hunger for defense, hunger for just, not giving up on the play. There's nothing lazy about it, man.
Yeah. Danny Belloff, he's just mentioned White should play more minutes and go from front row to lock. I think when Victor gets back, Danny, I'm assuming he'll go to lock, unless they go back to an edge and then maybe Wong goes back to the bench. I'm not sure. But I think he's playing more and more minutes each week, Nafu White. And for the most part, he's
looking like the real alpha of the pack right now, Jack.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's been fantastic this year. He'll be disappointed to let that dummy through. I think it was both him and Angus, just no communication there.
That first try, don't even mention it. Hugo Patterson, South fan, but, Eastern Suburbs boy, bug you, mate.
So you say Hugo, what's his name?
Hugo Patterson.
Hugo Patterson, a South fan that lives in the Eastern Suburbs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's about as it gets.
Good fellas, but absolute losers as well. See, mate.
Yeah. When do we? Who's this? Pete. He's saying, when do we kick hard at Dom near the line? His first instinct seems to knock it back, overtaking the catch. I think I know what you're saying. I also think where the kick is landing is playing a big part. Because if it's not landing right on the try line, he's just sitting dark. It's got to be on the try line. It's got to be on the try line, give or take a meter or two.
Yeah, and it's got to be timed well. But I'm really just not in that camp of like, oh, we've got the two best wingers, we've got to kick the corners. It's like, bro, but how often do you do it? Like, I'm like, we've seen it at Origin.
What do you mean, bro? Like kicking crossfield, mate? You got to kick cross. Like,
I don't
think I saw one crossfield kick to Daniel Tupou the whole game.
Well, that's what I mean. It never bloody happens, man. Like, and then To'o's the smallest winger bloody of all time, and he's still just such a beast. And I don't know, I feel like it's this great card to have, but then how often does a team pull it off? Like,
what do you mean, bro? Mate, you get a halfback and put it on do a crossfield kick and put it on the try line. How hard is it?
I don't know. Well, how often does it happen, bro?
Well, it should happen more than it did tonight, mate.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. I'm just saying in general, man. In general.
You're giving them a pass, bro. I mean,
I'm not
seriously.
Who am I giving a pass, mate?
You are, bro. Mate, you should be saying, mate, our halves. Clearly you are.
I'm not giving our halves a pass. I'm just now bringing up a separate topic that I think the bloody long field, cross-field kick is actually, with the big, long, tall wingers, I think is low-key overrated sometimes.
So you reckon it's overrated when Nathan Clear, all the great halfbacks and the great halves do it. You reckon they're consistently not landing it?
But I just don't think it happens enough to warrant like a big, tall winger just to be in the team, for example, over someone like Brian To'o, that's the short nuggety winger and still gets the job done.
Yeah, but we don't have a Brian To'o. That's the key point.
That's why I'm bringing up the fact that I'm just kind of thinking like, is this whole long? Well, Chad just did really not nail definitely two of those kicks. That,
No,
yeah.
it was more than that, man. It was disappointing. But on a lighter note, I mean, this is like NRL 360 at the moment. Have a guess who Buzz is. It's not me.
You wish you were Gordon Tallis, dude.
Fuck, get fucked. Retro Rugby League. Great to see Billy Smith back out there. How good was that?
It was good. It was good. I thought he was going over for a double there as well. I was like, come on, Bill. Good to see him out there. Yeah. I think he did his job. Had his moments. It's just hard playing. It's hard being a rock star in a pretty rocky team. But I think he did his job, and I do really believe that there should be some question marks. Even if it's a week or two, we've got a good, 5-6 players now to choose for our outside backs. And I think some questions. I don't know if the questions going to be asked. I don't know. I could be emotional, Jack, man.
I think he might be because Danny Bell, if he's coming for seconds, appreciate the comment. And I think he's maybe pushing back on your thoughts about the crossfield kick. He reckons that two posts scored about 50% of his tries in the air, which I think is actually not a bad point.
All right. Well, someone crunch the numbers for me because I just dead set don't reckon it happens. It doesn't happen enough. That's all kind of what I'm saying. Like, bro, yeah, kick it to him, we'll score. But I just feel like, especially now, if you kick it too far, then it's seven tackles. The amount of crossfield kicks that you actually get in a game, you might get 2 or 3 opportunities. Now, granted, they could be worth gold with a 6'7" winger.
I just think, bro. But I just think you're assuming that your halfback is not being able to nail that crossfield kick. Majority of the time, which they should.
I'm not. This is not about a halfbacks, man. I'm just saying though. I think it's just not as much of a player as it used to be. Definitely.
Right.
That's kind of what I'm alluding to. I'm like, give it the opportunity when it happens, but sometimes it just might happen once a half, if that.
Yeah. Should we address the elephant in the room, and which is Chad Townsend at the moment?
The Chad, yeah. Look, not his best.
I would go further. I thought his first half was a 0 out of 10. Even if we're in the fair dinkum department, which is where I live.
You are fair dinkum, true blue,
I think he would agree with that too. It was bad.
Yeah, and it's what hurts the most is like you're just. I don't know if I wasn't watching a lot of Cowboys footy. I don't know how he was playing that well at the end.
He got dropped. He got dropped last year.
Yeah, and Cowboys weren't that good. But, I was just hopeful. Let's just buy an experienced half. And then if the injuries come, he comes and slots in, does a job. And B's the just straight up and back 7, kick corners, complete sets kind of vibe. But, yeah, we weren't seeing a lot of that, man. And it was... And I'm sure it's pretty hard on Sand, and it puts a lot of pressure on him. And, bit of a dog's breakfast. Not stoked about it, mate. There's a few comments saying, is Savala coming in, Hugo? I don't know. Is that on the cards?
Well, I think if Chad Townsend is playing like that, I don't think there's any really benefit of him being out there, considering he's into his 30s, clearly not what he was. And I don't think Hugo Savala, as an example, as just who might replace him, even if he dishes out the same thing as Chad Townsend did tonight, then I would actually say that's better for the Roosters because at least you're giving Hugo Savala some experience. And I don't think he'd go that bad either.
As long as we're saying as well, we don't want to burn anyone, right? We don't want to put him, throw him to the wolves and be like, just fight your way out of this with the bloody stick.
We also don't want to burn the youngsters we've got out there at the moment. By
good point.
Not having a functional halves pairing,
or someone that's young and having a go. Like you were saying earlier, Sandon's he's out there throwing questions. He's having a crack. I like Sandon. So
again, I'm not sure if he's a long-term solution at halves. That's yet to be seen. I hope he is because I think he's got the skills, but I think he's good because he asks questions of the defense always. So he's always keeping the defense honest. It doesn't always work out for him, especially last week against the Titans. A few of his last tackle options weren't great, and some passes go to ground, etc., etc. But his first try, or the first try of the match, was a really good a good example of why I like him, and it's just because he kept the defense honest and he found 2 or 3 defenders who are lazy, and he scored a try. And I think that's a mark of a. I just like players who've got intent and are willing to have a go and just keep asking questions of the defense.
Yeah,
and he can do that.
And throwing and taking their shots, throwing what they've got at it. Yeah.
Disappointing though.
Yeah,
man.
and I mean, look, I'm just not feeling like there's going to be a lot of like super big positives at the moment to take out of what's going on. And and like we Roosters fans, stay positive. We are showing up. We like, even though the completion was, gosh.
I know what you're saying. I've got to be honest though. This our good mate Pato said just before, this is worse than last week's loss, and I think I tend to agree. I think
in what way do you think that?
Well, I think it was there. I think it was just there to be won, and we really mate, let's be honest. Let's go back into the fair dinkum department. South had both their.
That's where I trade a lot of currency.
Exactly. South had both their halves off for the majority of the game. You know.
I mean, mate, you could argue that we had one off.
Yeah, but no, I know what you're saying, but like they had 14 men on the field. They had 14 men to play with for 60 minutes or 40 minutes. Cody Walker went on at halftime. They had no creativity. They had nothing.
We were so on there. 20 to go, and we had.
That's why it's disappointing. That's a game you just shouldn't be losing, especially when you're in front.
Yeah,
you know, like,
and then you're walking out and they go, we don't deserve that, Jack. Like, mate, we don't deserve that. But if we can get away with this win, I am going to rub it in every South fan's face. You know, the infamous famous win.
Hey, I tell you what, Jacko Barrett's just said something. If Daly Cherry Evans is a halfback, do you think we win that match?
Oh, you reckon?
Yeah. I think DCE might have closed out that match.
I think he might have just had something in him I'm shattered, man. Yeah, because again, we didn't deserve it, but it was there for the taking. It was in our hands.
Did you see? I saw Buzz Rothfield today. Reckons he's coming to us. Jacko Barrett. Yeah, easy. Agreed, mate. He reckons that he's more than likely going to be at the Chooks next year. And you know what? If you think about it. We've lost. We're 1-3, or we're 1-4 now.
1-4.
We're 1-4. I reckon with an experienced halfback would be 2-3, at least 2 or 3. maybe. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Only 2 and 3, dude.
We're all 3 and 2. I think that's clear. I think we would have won last week with a decent
I mean, just imagine just running out. Yeah, running out, knowing that Sammy Walker's on your team that night, and you're literally like, you remember playing as a kid, and you just had that weapon in your team. You're like, dude.
Yeah,
we can score heaps of tries. Yeah, I'm just going to run hard, do my job, and then like I know we're going to score at least like 2, 3, 4 tries. Yeah, that's what kind of Sam Walker brings. And if DCE comes, it will be interesting though with Sammy.
Mate, Sandon Smith would be a fantastic 14 if it was to come apart. I reckon he's the ideal.
Put him at fullback. Put him at
put him in the middle of the field, bro. Just do what he does. Just give me the ball and just run it.
And the true Robbo way, it's like, mate, like if you just can't handle the middle, then you're just not in the team. Sort of.
Yeah, he'd be fine. He'd be fine, and then kind of back at lock anyway. I think. Well, yeah, one of the more disappointing results of the last. 2 years. I thought.
I'm shattered, mate. I'm like, I'm a little less shattered chatting to you and just looking at you and looking at that 2018 Roosters beer VB can there, you know?
Yeah, you can see that.
I can see that.
Right
but mate, when I jumped on this and then the live feed wasn't working, I was
mate. Don't mention our shortcomings, brother.
It's all right, mate. I just can be honest. That's kind of the player I am.
Yeah, Pete Anthony. He said at least if we play Hugo, he'll gain experience getting first grade time. Completely agree. I think even if he plays shit, it's better than him. You know, it's better than Chad Townsend playing crap.
And then what about the dropouts?
What, South ones or our ones?
No, just the whole rule itself. Like, I've never seen the rule being so flawed until tonight. It's like, bro, if you don't kick it a meter, boom,
that is a bit annoying.
I thought it was a penalty if that happens.
No, so it's only if it doesn't end up going 10, which is a little bit annoying because what you can do if the ball doesn't go
Grub
10,
it.
and if it doesn't go 10, and it starts bouncing towards going 10, the team who's kicked it can almost they can almost shield the ball until it gets to the 10-meter line because the Roosters can't go over the 10-meter line else they're offside.
Really?
Yeah, so you can't. That's why they're all waiting there, bro. Because you can't go forward.
No,
and pick it
they're
up.
not.
Yeah, you can't go forward and pick it up else you're offside.
No. Once it's
exactly.
kicked, you can go forward.
No, I don't think you can, bro.
No. Say it ain't so. I will not go.
Yeah.
Turn the lights off. Knock me out and carry me home.
So it was, frustrating. I mean, it happened twice. I mean, Latrell, how about that?
How about Latrell, bro? Like 2 kick out, 2 out on the full, 2 dead shit dropouts that came good. And then that Moose pass. And then I was like, he's going to slot this, bro. No worries about that. That's the kind of player he is.
That game was almost made for him in the end.
Grubby and just scat. Bro.
But also, they had all the injuries and he just had to come up with one play. It was a hell of a pass, to be fair.
Oh, it was a great pass.
Yeah.
You love that, a floating pass as well. Just a big rocket, bro. I'm surprised if that ball even toppled. It was just like a...
It always hurts.
I'm over it, bro. I'm over it.
Yeah. So we go on to Brisbane next week and up in Brisbane. That's going to be... I'm hoping this isn't too much of a gut punch for them, which I'm a little bit worried about.
Oh man, I don't know if I've got it in me to unpack next week, dude.
I know what you mean, but a couple of mentions here of 2016. It's certainly going that way. The second dropout was the most effed up kick I've ever seen in my life. Agreed, Jake.
Like, how can we be penalised or whatever for that, bro? Like, you kicked it 1 meter, you dog.
Yeah, and then the other highlight was Chad
we would have
Townsend.
won that game if that didn't happen, dude.
Yeah,
like,
we
fair dinkum. Like, what are we talking about? Oh, no.
And then who could forget Chad Townsend's dropout that went backwards? That was awesome.
Oh, yeah. Look, they happen, dude. Don't worry about that. They do happen.
Elias or something like that says South established in 2002 just beat the Roosters 20-14. Yeah, they did. Not a bad effort for a club that's been around for 22 years, 23 years.
Yeah. Congrats, mate. How many premierships you won, Elias? How many? Elias. Lazy Elias.
Yeah. Adard says here, Dom will stay in, good point scorer. Obviously, I love him, but I didn't think he was that bad. Are people too harsh on him?
No.
I like him. I like him because he's a try scorer. But I know people will disagree. But
if you're not a try scorer as a winger, then you
well,
what are we doing?
I think he can turn just by his speed and size and
I would just out the back, run hard. Anyway, I'm Roosters fans. It's been something.
It's been a hell of a night. I think we're probably...
I'm pretty shattered, man. There's a lot of salt in my wound, dude.
Yeah. Saltiness is high right now.
Oh, so high, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
We look on to next week. 7-day turnaround. Huge.
Huge. What do you reckon, bro? We leave it here.
There. It's good night. Bugger it. Not our best, Roosters fans. Not our best. We deserve a smidge better, but we have had a bloody good 25 years. No one forget about that. Some could say better than any other club in this competition.
Oh, Melbourne's had a pretty good 25-year run.
Yeah, Melbourne as well. And maybe Penrith.
Yeah.
You'd almost take a pretty pooey 16 years to win like 4 straight. But that's neither here nor there. Be patient, mate. Roosters fans.
Let's end it here, bro. It's been good to chat.
Thank you for jumping on, bro. We appreciate y'all.
Bye. Do we share that or not?